Hello, everybody. Yeah, I think it's 10 o'clock. We can start. So this webinar today, it's about how to deliver a successful project in a digital environment, digital project in the public sector. And maybe shortly about us, actually, who we are and what we do and why we decided actually to run those webinars. Actually, this is the first one in the series. And there will be a follow-up, of course, with many other topics. So we've been in the digital space for about 15 years. Our agency is about 30 people working on different digital topics, digital projects, and yeah, everything around the internet. Why we decided actually to share our experiences is simply we've done all the possible scenarios, the good ones, the bad ones, and we just want to reach out to people who work in the same space, which we do, share the good things, exchange the bad things, and also actually would like to later on follow up with you and learn actually what else do you different or better than we do, and just start and keep on the conversation going. What I will do right now, I will turn on the screen share. I just wanted to show my face so you know who is actually the voice in the back. And let me just share my screen on this Hangout. All right. Let me start the presentation. Now, I think everybody should see the presentation right now. No, just a second, it's not. I can see that the PowerPoint is once again up, and now PowerPoint, there we are. So basically the first topic of our webinar is, come on PowerPoint, yes. So the first topic is how to set up the project actually in terms of the tools, task management, communication, and how to do the reporting in a digital project. So what is very important? It is very important to set up the tools from the beginning, very right from the start, even though it might take some time. However, it's actually critical that all the digital tools which are going to support the project implementations, which are I will talk about the list later on, but tools for communication, tools for task management, tools for reporting, and so on, that everything is actually working right from the beginning, and there is no hiccups during the implementation, so that we can really focus on the implementation. What basically we use, I wanted to say, is in our setup, we actually recommend everybody to use a tool which is called Slack. It actually looks like just a normal chat tool, but actually it's much more than that. It's a tool which allows us actually for full transparency, easy communication in the team, and fast onboarding of the newcomers. And it works in a way that basically, I will show it later on, it works in a way that we create project team for every single space, and then all the newcomers to the project and the people working on the implementation of the project can easily communicate. That's very important. Then for the implementation of the projects and task management, we always recommend to have one central repository of all the tasks. Like everybody of you for sure knows Jira or Trello. We actually use Assembla. And what it gives us, it allows us actually to keep everything in one place, and all the tasks which are actually going to be done and implemented are actually stored there. What is also very important is the reporting. So we need to have all the reporting tools in one place, and thanks to the task management systems and the transparent communication tools, we actually make sure that the tasks which we implemented are reported correctly to the clients. What is very also important is the setup of a very important step. It's actually the roadmap of the project. We know in the public sector and in every bigger contract, there's always the hiccup where we need to actually define a project roadmap, and this is normally based on the terms and of reference. However, actually, by the time the contracts are awarded, normally the terms of reference should actually change and should be upgraded. And this is actually where the trick in public sector comes in, that actually Normally, we apply for a bid. It takes 6 or 12 months, sometimes 18 months to get the results. After this time, it takes a few months to sign the contract. So actually, from the moment when somebody wrote the requirements for the project, it's been 2 years. And now there's always the issue. Do we actually deliver what's in the terms of reference, which might not be needed anymore after 2 years? Or do we actually upgrade the contract in a way which allows us to give the flexibility and deliver what is really needed at the time of the contract signature? And here in our experiences, we have all the possible scenarios. So sometimes actually the contracts allow us a full flexibility, and the clients actually get what they need at the stage of signing the contract. Sometimes the contracts are done in a way that we need to deliver things which are still in the terms of reference, but still we need to fight for the flexibility. So what is very important on this point is for the clients to understand that actually we need a flexibility to deliver. On the other side, we need also to fulfill all the contracts, all the terms and reference. So this is something important to keep in mind. That's why it's so important actually to do it at the beginning of the project in the right way, so the expectations are clear. Basically, how do we deal with this? It's somehow we make a mixture of a fixed price contracts in most of the case, but they still need to be implemented in an agile way. So thanks to the roadmap, on the roadmap, we set up all the milestones which we need to have. And then on every single milestone, we keep on monitoring actually what has been delivered and what is still remaining. By the way, if anybody has questions, there is a chat box next to the video, so you can just put the questions there, and then I will process all the questions after the end of the presentation. Once we've got the roadmap, what we say, what is the most second important thing in the implementation of a digital project is actually transparent communication inside of the team. What does it mean actually? It's actually the fact that everybody has access to everybody. At least that's the setup which we prefer. So our developers talk to the designers. If we have partners, all the partners know our team. If the client is involved, then the client is also a part of our team. And we always invite everybody to one Slack space. There is no hidden silos. There is no situation that one person keeps everything on their own and tries to brief everybody else. This doesn't work. We know that. We tried that. It's a failure. So what we recommend from our experience is actually to keep a full transparency and full open communication channel set. In our case, it's Slack. So everybody can actually has access to everybody working in the projects. This way, actually, it shortens all the paths of communication, and everybody can talk to whoever they need. What it also gives us, actually, it allows us for the reduction of blame and shame, which is very common in any sort of projects. I mean, it's not only digital space, but also the any other kind of projects, is the blame and shame, which is really the big issue killing the motivation. And by being transparent, we can actually avoid that. Yeah. Also, while we support transparency, it allows actually new team members to join the projects and quickly scale up the teams if this is necessary. Now, very important thing in the daily work of implementation of the process is actually a daily stand-up. And what we do, every morning, our entire team meets at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then basically we just do it agile way, and it's very simple actually. So the questions are: what have you done yesterday? What were the problems? And what is the plan for today? Also, why we do it? To wake people up. Then stand-ups also support the transparency, so everybody knows what's being done. Teammates actually commit to deliver things for the other teammates, which is also improving the delivery rate. It also allows other people involved in the project to be aware what's happening. So, for example, editors can talk with the designers. Editors know what kind of content they need to prepare for the designers, and designers know exactly what to deliver for the developers, which know exactly what to expect. Also, this helps people and like the entire teams to plan the to plan the days, to plan the days, to know what's going to be done, and so on. Then everybody can be informed where could they help their colleagues on the daily basis in the problems which the colleagues reported. What is also interesting, although it might seem the stand-up, be on time, it's very short, 5 minutes, as in Agile methodology, but actually it reduces the stress for the entire day because everybody knows what to do, everybody knows what to expect, the clients know what to expect, the team knows what to expect, the partners are briefed, and this actually makes the working atmosphere much better. What is also very important in the implementation of digital projects is actually the fact of allowing teammates to demonstrate what they have delivered. So on the roadmap, we've got the milestones. The milestones we implement as sprints or kind of Scrum-Ban. And what is very important that everybody who has done work, at the end of the milestones, they have an opportunity to present what they have done to the entire team, including the client as well. So developers, designers, editors, I don't know, event people, video teams, everybody can present their achievement from the last, let's say, 2 weeks. That's normally the standard sprint duration. What it also gives, it gives people working on the project feeling of ownership of every single task which are delivering. So they know why they do it, and also they are proud to show what they have delivered. On the other side, the clients can see transparent progress of the entire project. So the clients know who does what, where are the hiccups, where can we improve, and what are going to be the next tasks to be implemented. Important is as well that once demonstrating what's been done, the client partners, product owners, so to say, they can straight away give feedback on every delivery, which is then taken on board in the next part of the implementation. And this also allows us to actually spot icebergs before actually, and pivoting, turning on another track of the project if there are any problems on the way. What is also important in a digital project is actually the setup of cross-functional teams. A concept of cross-functional team is actually, it seems pretty obvious. However, if we look at most of the bigger organizations, there will be editorial department, there will be web development department, there will be design department, there will be event department, there will be, I don't know, print production department, and so on and so on. This setup actually kills the dynamics of a project, and that's why cross-functional teams is actually a model which is becoming more and more popular, and this functions very well. So what is important is actually to have on a team, okay, how to say it clearly. So imagine a project in which we've got multiple components. We've got events, we've got web, we've got digital communication, we've got content marketing, which is, let's say, email automation, we've got social media, we've got web design, we've got print. So actually, once we run a project of this kind, we actually combine, we build a team with a teammate from every single component which we have. So on the project team, we'll have somebody from the web, we'll have somebody from the development, design, project management, events, camera people, and so on. And then they are grouped on Slack as a project team. And this way, actually, the communication and the implementation of the project works much faster. There is no paths like I have to go through the head of the department to get access to the developer. I need to talk to the designer, to the head of the digital design studio to get people. So this is actually not the way we do it. We do it in a way that we build project teams, and then in the project team, there's a project owner, product owner, who is actually making sure that all these people work together at the same place. I mean, in our case, it's virtual, but still we've got virtual places, and then we've got the spaces to communicate. For the companies which are actually like located in one place, it's even easier. It's easier to put them in one place. Let me check one question. I will read the question. How do you avoid micromanagement by the client? Could it be risky when the client are not digital? Yeah. Okay, so basically the question is about possibility, the risk of micromanagement from the clients which are not digital themselves. So how do we do it actually? At the beginning, there is always the risk. And the clients which are not digital, of course, there is the micromanagement potential, which is normally caused simply by the lack of knowledge and also self-confidence to run things which they still have to learn. How we actually how we handle that, it's pretty simple. It's the transparency from the beginning, and the micromanagement disappears in the second once the clients actually realize that we are their partners and we are teaching them, taking them through the process. And this is where the transparency comes in. Of course, we had cases in the past where the clients would micromanage every single thing without really understanding what we are doing and what was the goal. However, by just introducing opening the communication channel, letting the client into the project, and at the beginning, it's always the same. At the beginning, everybody fears that. But just after a second, the clients realize there is people who know what they are doing. There is people who actually transparently present what we achieve step by step. And we actually show the clients the entire process from the beginning until the end. And actually, whenever we had cases that the clients were trying to micromanage at the beginning, at the end of the process, the trust is built and they understand that decisions we take are based on understanding what we do, and it's better this way. And of course, if there's clients with just like micromanagement, then it's more general issue and has nothing to do with the digital. But in the digital space, how we try to avoid the situations of micromanagement is really by letting the clients to the team and basically being with us and seeing what we are doing. And this, I think everybody from our teammates can confirm that it reduces the amount of micromanagement once the trust is really built. Then the next thing which I wanted to show you is actually it's actually the communication channels inside of our team. It's not the entire team, but basically why I thought to share it with you is a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, I discovered some material from an MBA program, which was about measuring the communication channels inside of a team. And the question is very simple. And here, maybe if you want, you can play this game inside of your organization or project teams. And the question is very simple. Who do you communicate or work once a week at least inside of your project team or inside your organization? And then we see the answers are very simple. So let's say I talk with Maciek, Peter, and Tom. Andrew says, I work with George, Vamo, and Cem, and so on and so on. And then we draw them on a circle and we see the connections. And the more actually filled in the circle is, the better it is. It means everybody talks to everybody. If there was actually a silo, which is actually a very dangerous thing for project management, if there was a silo, it would more become a triangle in one direction. You can see there is actually more on the, Chris, Greg, and so on, and Maciek, there is more points, but still we can see that everybody talks to everybody, which means the communication channels function very well. And this is very funny exercise, and I encourage everybody to run it actually, because it will show you if the communication works, which is the most important thing, and if the communication doesn't work, then at least you know who is not talking to whom and who should talk to whom to improve the project implementation. So there is another exercise, which actually I can share with you. I don't have a slide for this one, but there is another exercise, which is ask your colleagues who helps you solve the problems and who helps you to take decisions on the project which currently is implemented. And then we get a very nice diagram with people who are really running the organization. So this is not always covered with the real CEO or the managers, but this actually exercise, which I just mentioned, will show you who really drives the organization forward. Then, effective collaboration. So this is very, very important as well. And this is a bit, it will repeat what I was talking about, the micromanagement. However, the importance of effective collaboration. So what does it mean, effective collaboration? Normally on a project, we've got teammates, we've got the client. In the public sector, in most of the cases, because of the way the new contracts are structured, it will be like 10 different companies applying for a bid. And how do we then cooperate? The worst case scenario, maybe I will start from that, is when we've got one contact point to the big client, which is then trying to manage 10 different teams doing separate things, normally different companies. So let's say digital agency, web dev, communication, events, video. And then we've got some big contractor which is managing this multi-million contracts. And then what happens? From bad experiences, the guys which implement don't even know the client. We don't know actually the priorities. We don't know anything. Then the contractors are frustrated because the clients are not responding, because they feel that the contractors don't know what's happening, which actually, I mean, I don't want to sound very negative, but happens a lot. We have it a lot. We had it a lot, and there are solutions that the things actually function well. And how we do it is really the effective collaboration is based on the fact that the client needs to be present. So dear clients, if you are listening, be with us in the projects. On the other side, the contractors, sometimes it happens that the contractors, how to say that, the contractors don't really know because the client is not present. So it's very difficult for us as contractors to understand what the clients needs. So that's why, coming back to the previous slides, when we had the discussion about the demos and presenting the milestones which we are achieving, we always recommend that the client is with us at least every 2 weeks to see the direction we are going, to see the deliveries which we are delivering, to give us the feedback on the next steps. This is really critical for the digital project teams, and this covers right now really everybody. It's web, it's videos, it's content, it's marketing, it's social media, it's events, that the clients give us feedback at least twice a month if the direction where we are implementing is good. And this allows us to support the decision-making process, because in the way the projects are implemented, the best thing is that when every single teammate actually understands what is the direction to go. So then for every smallest decision, they know exactly what is the strategy. And this is where the client's feedback is needed. We know that actually it sounds like a lot. On the other side, projects implemented this way are implemented much faster, and they are much cheaper, and the clients get exactly what they want if they are present. Now, I was talking about this a bit at the beginning, but now it's a bit to elaborate a bit more on the effective collaboration and how important are the different tools. I know it sounds trivial, but we still have the cases, and it's not few, it's really quite a lot, where with different partners, clients, basically we've got a problem to communicate. Because normally in a digital project, we've got screen share, which is constantly needed, because, I mean, we are not going to constantly waste half a day to go to somebody's office if we can just share a screen. In most of the cases, I mean, not most, but in many cases, it still happens that many people have the old browsers which do not allow to use modern video screening, video streaming. And so I would stress out that before any project starts, let's make sure that our, I don't know, Skype or Google Hangout works. We prefer Google Hangout. Skype, after latest upgrade, is a disaster. So we prefer actually to work with Google Hangouts, which is maybe not very sophisticated, but does the job. So we test at the beginning of the project with the clients. We test it with them, we set it up, and we don't start communicating until the video channels are established. Because as long as they are not established, we shouldn't be doing any job, because we cannot really communicate. So the first thing we do is we set up the tools that we know how we communicate, we agree on the communication channels, and then basically we communicate only through the channels which are defined. Then the same with Slack, for example. We invite our clients and partners to our Slack spaces, and then before we start doing the job, we make sure that everybody knows how to use Slack, how to use our Google Hangouts, how to use our Assembler, and so on. So a training for the partners and the clients is also something which we encourage everybody to do at the beginning of the project. Now, on the financials. The important thing is that most of the projects in public sector are actually fixed price. What does that mean is that, yeah, there are three ways of implementing them. Either the contractors try to do as little as possible to get as much profit as possible, or on the other side, we had cases where the clients actually try to push contractors to do 3 times more than the budget allows. And what's the reason for this, actually? It's neither is good. Neither functions and causes frustration. And this is something we don't want. Neither the clients don't want it, nor the contractors want it, but simply happens. And why it happens is it's actually the lack of transparency. That's at least our impression and our experiences tell that it's a lack of transparency of both sides. So what we try to do really is to be very transparent with presenting to everybody who we work with why actually and how much money are we burning from the budget. So everybody knows people need to be paid. There is a lot of expenses. There is travel expenses, equipment, offices, insurances, and so on and so on. So every month in a project, there is a certain amount of money burned. So what we try to do, we try to report to the clients and partners, I mean, to the entire team, we can say, how much budget do we still have and what is still on our roadmap to be implemented. And what is very important, in the digital projects, there is quite a lot of flexibility. So if the clients say, for example, I don't know, the interactive forum and then basically virtual networking is much more important for us than, let's say, beautiful PDF reports, then you can still deliver very simple PDF reports. So we cover the contractual requirements and the content is there, and move much more energy to develop the functionalities which have the highest priority. What is really the important thing to stress out is the transparent reporting basically every month. It's very critical because happens a lot that actually the clients expect to be to have the contractors full power all the time, but on the other side, the budgets are fixed. So how do we really find this balance? And we sometimes are in the position where in the first, let's say, 18 months, we burn 80% of the contract, which is 4 years. So what do we do then? And how to avoid it? We believe really that the transparency of the burn rate and the burn chart, it's actually the way to go. This way the clients can see what's been done, what's been delivered, and how much money is there still remaining to do things. Then, and this is something maybe, yeah, now, how not to e-collaborate, so to say. Happens a lot still that basically we've got teleconferences organized in distributed environment for digital projects, that there is 5 people sitting at one table with a phone with loudspeaker, without a possibility to present what has been delivered. And then the quality of sound is bad, and then there is no screen sharing possibility, which we believe is really the most important thing to have set in a digital project during its implementation. Basically, what is also important for us is the proper presentation of the outcome of job, which again comes to the very simple functionality of screen sharing. Yeah, this is very important. Then sometimes we have a feeling that our clients and partners, it's not only that, it's actually everybody who's not digital working with us on the projects. We have a problem to receive the feedback which we get. It's actually structured in a way that shows that the partners and clients do not actually understand what they give feedback on. Again, this is a bit of education needed, and what is really required is that when people give feedback, when we give feedback or people give feedback, we need to understand why are we giving this feedback. And we, for example, don't know how to give feedback to the event people. We don't do really the event organization, so I wouldn't really know what to comment on. But in digital space, sometimes it happens that the clients give us feedback on things which we don't work on. So what would be very important is to understand that if we have a sprint in which we work on the content, then we do not talk about the colors. If we talk about the colors, we don't really read that it's lorem ipsum. Once it happens to us that we got feedback that we have spelling mistakes in lorem ipsum. Extreme case, but it happened. So this is very important to stay focused and drive people to the way, yeah, everything is clear for everybody. Then, what we also find very important not to do is not to manage the project via email. Because on the second, once we start the email management, people get lost. Because there is the constant stream of emails coming in, and then suddenly we build silos, and once the silos are built, then people don't really know what to do next, the priorities get mistaken, and so on and so on. So actually, the simple solution for that is really run it using task management tools. Jira, Assembler, have one transparent list of things which need to be processed. Now, how to stay motivated actually in the digital project. And I mean, it's a bit a general topic. It's not only digital, it applies to all the other spaces which are completely offline. But how we do it for our teams and our partners, how we work on that. So the important thing is really that people, so the leaders, the project leaders decide what needs to be done, but the team decide how this should be done. So if a designer, so let's say a bit of a case, project owner, no matter client, partner, doesn't matter, they say, I need an event website and I need to communicate about this event coming up in 2 weeks, I don't know, in Brussels or London, and I want to have 100 people. Then basically the editors will write the content, and this is good content because that's why we've got a good editor, right? So there is no point to correct English after English editor. Then the designer will design it, and well, taste is a personal thing. I believe that if a designer designs it, it's their job and they know better how to do it. So the designers actually decide how the things look like. We've got social media promotions. So actually we've got social media people. They know how to do things better. That's why we do not tell them how to do things on social media, and so on and so on. This way, actually, everybody does the things the way they should be done. They feel comfortable, they feel in charge, they do not lose the motivation to keep on working. Another very important thing in the digital space is always finishing the started tasks. So if we start doing something, even if it's, yeah, should be, I mean, maybe it's not needed at a certain stage anymore, still it's very important to complete the tasks, to basically make sure that whatever was started, it's done. Let's prepare it in a way that we can reuse it, but let's don't drop the tasks in the middle. This is sometimes, I mean, happens quite a lot actually, that the requirements change and then the client say, yeah, can you drop it right now? I don't want to pay for it anymore. It's actually better to spend a few days or few hours to complete the task and have some functionality, digital functionality implemented. If it's video or I don't know, or web components or web design, whatever it is, it's better to complete and not to interrupt the team in the middle of doing a single of basically single tasks. What is also very important for the motivation is that people know what to expect. And people, I mean everybody. So the clients should know what to expect from the team should know what to expect from the partners and from the client. What we also try to avoid in digital projects, and again, this is also applying for offline world, it's not to have blame and shame inside of the organization. So there is no blaming, no shaming. We try to understand why there was a problem, why this part of the code is not working, why this design doesn't really do what it should be doing. We try to find the reason and actually to improve it. So there is a constant iterations, and this is my next point, is that in the digital projects, in most of the cases, everything can always be improved. It's digital, can be updated, can be republished, content can be upgraded, design can be done again, and website can be published once more. What we also say is very important is the clear definition of the word done. So once we've got the word done defined, what does it mean that something is done? Because this is also what we see causes quite of confusion and lack of and killing the motivation actually among the designers, developers, and digital project members is when people do not really know what it means that it's done. So I'm asking my teammates, is it done? They say it's done. I say, no, it's not done. And then we realize actually that the definition of the word done, it's a very important thing. So in case for, I mean, just an example for web development, a word done means that the functionality is designed, implemented, tested, and pushed to the production and tested on the production. This is the definition of the word done for the web development process on our site. Now, I think I'm coming to the end of my little monologue. And it's time for questions and answers. I mean, so far there was one question. So if anybody has questions, I would like to encourage you to ask them right now. And I would be very happy to discuss those. What is also important I wanted to say is that you've got our email. If anybody would like to have some more personal exchange, and also this is maybe a feedback from you to us, is this way actually of presenting interesting for you, or you would rather prefer to have a hangout where we can really talk, see each other face to face, and just discuss in a video room? So that's another question. So I'm waiting for the questions. If none will come, then I will very soon say goodbye to everybody. All right, then. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for the previous answer and the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will also reply on the chat. Let's see if it works. Yeah, all right, guys. If anything, just you've got our contact details. Happy to talk after all. To be honest, I'm not very much of a fan of speaking without seeing people. It's a bit, I feel like, on the TV screen, a bit complicated. So the next one, let's try to organize in a way that we'll have a hangout with maximum 15 people and that everybody, can talk with us. I hope that this is going to work out for everybody. Thank you very much then, and talk soon.